Ionic bonding, it's a bonding between two or more atoms given that there is a complete transfer of electrons and of the metal, and of course the non-metal will be the one to receive it. So this is what's happening here. Example, sodium is a wait for a while. Okay. So sodium here is a metal. So sodium belongs to group 1A. Automatic, there is only one valence electron. You partnered it with chlorine, which is a non-metal, and then chlorine belongs to group 7A. So automatic, there should be 7 electrons or 7 dots in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, it's very impossible kasi when we try to check the sodium, it only has 1 electron. Kulang siya ng 7 para maabot siya 8. In the side of the chlorine, it has 7 electrons. Kulang siya isa para ma-8. So it's very difficult, no? It's very difficult for the sodium to look for 7 electrons. But it's easier for the chlorine to accept 1 electron. So, mura ba siya in our dialect or in Visayan dialect nga, if na kay amigo nga na 7 ka lollipop, then ang isa ka amigo na isa ka lollipop, it's difficult or medyo imposible kayo nga ihatag sa katong bata nga na 7 ka lollipops, ang yang lollipops didto sa yang friend nga isa lang kabok, no? So, it's easier for the sodium to give up the 1 electron. So, in this case, the sodium now will lose the 1 electron. Unsa na may mahitabo sa iya ha? This orbit here will be gone na kay wa naman diha So, ang mabili na lang is the next orbit, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No? 8 siya, actually. 8 ka, 8 na siya ka electron. So, it's complete now. Now, what's happening in the chlorine? In the chlorine na side, 7 siya. So, the 1 electron is being transferred. So, complete na siya. And this is how ionic bonding really works, or the formation of the ions really works, no? So, in this case, the charge of an ion corresponds to the number of electrons gained or lose. So, focusing on the sodium, since the sodium only lost 1 electron, so it has a meron siyang wait lang for a while, positive 1. So ibig sabihin, positive 1 siya because sobra siya ng isang electron. Kaya di ba usually if a neutral atom should have, if ang specific atom na siya 12 ka electron, 12 ka protons, napod siya 12 ka electrons. But in this case, they are not equal anymore because there is giving up of 1 electron. So, ibig sabihin, the metal will donate the electrons, and in that case, the metal will now become a positively charged atom or positively charged ion. Ion na siya. Nga naman, it's because sobra naman siya. So, in this case, positive 1, ibig sabihin, the sodium loses 1 electron, sobra siya ng isang proton, so positive 1. Now, in this case, the chlorine, ni-receive po siya og 1 electron, so sobra na siya ng isang electron compared sa neutral chlorine. That's why you can see there a negative 1 or 1 negative na mga charge. So, that's what we mean by the ion. So, ibig sabihin nito, ang tawag sa kanila ions na. So, this is now what we mean by sodium ion. And we have here the chlorine ion. Now, when we say ion, there is a specific name for a positively charged ion, and that is what we call as the cation. A negatively charged ion is also called as the anion. Okay, so yun yung tawag sa kanila. I will repeat. Metals lose electron or electrons. And since they lose electron, they will become positively charged ion. Because sobra naman ang ilahang proton compared sa electron. On the side of the nonmetals, they will become negatively charged metals. Kasi they accept electrons. So, ni sobra na ang electron compared sa ilahang proton count. So, that's what we mean by that. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang element will lose 2 electrons, so that's positive 2. Kung mo accept po siya 2 ka electrons, so negative 2. So the one or the element that will donate will be a positively charged ion, and then the element that will accept the electron will become the negatively charged ion. Okay, now let's start with this. Okay, so we have here predict the chemical formulas of some ionic compounds and use the Lewis dot structure to illustrate the transfer of the electrons. So, uh, please take note that we will predict the chemical formula. So, how do we predict the chemical formula? So, let's start muna with this one. Okay, ano ba to? Okay, so there is an illustration here. So we have here the sodium and the chlorine. So when we try to check, sodium belongs to group 1A. And then, si chlorine belongs to group 7A. So when they will form an ion, ang ilahang kuan din niya sa ion is Na, that's 1 plus. Okay, so ibig sabihin, it has the ability to transfer or to give up one electron. Kasi there's only one valence electron. Chlorine belongs to group 7A. So naa siya 7 ka-electrons in its valence shell. And it has the ability to accommodate one more electron. So in this case, that's 1 negative. Okay, so it's very simple. You simply cross-multiply this, okay? You cross-multiply and bring that down, cross-multiply, bring that down. So you will end up with Na1Cl1. But in this case, we do not write the 1 anymore because it simply means that Na, there's one Na atom and there's one Cl atom or ion ba. Okay? So in this case, the formula is now NaCl. Okay, this is the formula. So sabi niya, use the Lewis dot structure to illustrate the transfer of electrons. So we will simply focus on this illustration. So Na belongs to group 1A. So ibig sabihin, isa ra gyud ang iyahang valence electron. Okay. Then you react that with a chlorine which has a 7. So let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So there is one electron niya siya lang isa. Alone siya, alone. Muna siya, alone. So in this case, the sodium will now donate the one electron here. No? So unsa na may mahitabo sa ila ha? What will happen then? So, what will happen is, your Na will now become Na, losing the ano. So, since it loses one electron, so that will become one positive. Okay? And then, yung chlorine is complete na siya. So, that's Cl. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Kasi, complete naman siya. So, this is now, since it accepts one more electron, so that will become one negative. So, that's what's happening here. Now, remember, when you try to focus your attention to the illustration, the Na here before the transfer of the electron is slightly larger compared to the sodium after the transfer. Why is that? It's because nawala naman ni siya kanina orbit. Nawala naman siya because na-donate naman ng isa ka electron. So nigamay ang iyahang atomic radius, no? So nag-donate man siya, na-lose naman to siya nga na orbit, so nigamay ang iyahang atomic radius. So that's why you can see there through the illustration that the Na after the transfer of the electron really ni-reduce gyud siya in terms of, or when we try to connect or to check the illustration. So this is what's happening here. Okay? Next, we focus our attention to the second one, which is it involves magnesium and oxygen. Okay. So, magnesium Mg, no? So magnesium Mg naa siya sa group 2A. So it has the ability, it has only 2 electrons on the outermost shell, and it has the ability to to donate 2 electrons. So you have there 2 plus. There are some authors no nga unahon nila ang plus, that's plus 2. Pero napoy authors nga 2 plus. Okay? Now, in this case, the oxygen belongs to group 6. No? Group 6 siya. So the electrons in the outermost shell of the oxygen is 6. So pila may kulang para may mong 8? Okay, 2. Very good. So it means that it has the ability to accept 2 electrons. So that's why you have there 2e. Okay? So just like what I said a while ago, we simply what? Ato ra siyang cross multiply. So we bring this down and then we bring this down. And then it will become Mg2 and O2. Now in that case, we simply write the kanang simplified version. That means 2 can be divided by itself. So this will become Mg 1 and O1. So just like what I said a while ago, pwede na nga walay 1. So the formula for this second illustration is MgO. So this is now the formula. Okay. Now how do we show the transfer of the electrons using the Lewis dot? Okay, let's start with magnesium muna. So sa magnesium, it belongs to group 2A. So let's put here 2 electrons or 2 dots, no? Tapos nag-react siya or nag-interact with the oxygen. So for the oxygen, let's put, since it's in group 6, so napod siya 6 ka dots. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No? So you have there 6. Now you have also 2 paired electrons, meaning nasa partner. Napod mo 2 alone electrons, no? So sila lang isa, alone. Mga lone ko ana sila. Electrons ba? Alone. So in this case, this one electron will be partnered with this one alone electron, and also the other one. So dili na sila alone, na sila partner, 'di ba? So in that case, unsa na may mahitabo? Sorry, dili naman siya masigo, no? Ako na lang i-transfer here sa other side, ha. Okay. So what will happen now is this will become Mg, and then since it loses 2 electrons, so the ano natin dyan is 2 plus. The charge 2 plus. And then for oxygen, complete na siya. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Then, since ni-accept mo siya 2 electrons, so you also have there the charge of 2 negative. Okay? So, that's why when you try to check the illustration, meron siyang dalawang protons here, meaning sobra siya ng dalawang protons, tsaka you have there 2 electrons, meaning sobra siya ng dalawang electrons. So, this is how this illustration or the formation of this ionic compound. Okay?